And also bearing in mind, when a recruitment company's busy and they've just got a huge, massive amount of demand that they can't possibly hope to fulfill, there are candidate shortages or skill shortages. It's quite difficult for them to prioritize the strategic stuff as well, isn't it?
Definitely. It's a massive distraction because the bright, shiny thing's in front of you. I think I don't think it's that inaccurate to say all the staffing businesses that we've worked with, all the recruiters that we've worked with in the last 12 months have had the best year they've ever had financially from a revenues perspective. But I think, and this will chime with recruiters who are listening to this, one of the challenges is you might have loads and loads of jobs, but which ones are the best ones to fill? And you're increasingly seeing, the agency market wanting to move to commitment from clients to work with them. So be that, wanting to do some sort of retained agreements and retained work financially, be that trying to close the customer down. I think, I think one of the things I've really noticed is particularly sitting on sales floors, like I was yesterday, in a recruitment sales floor yesterday, is actually seeing that the recruitment consultants, some of them for the first time, because this hasn't been the market for the last 5 to 10 years, are having to really really close down customers to the process to make sure that they're not wasting their time on a job that the customer's not committed to, or the customer is offering the right value benefits for it to attract the right candidates, that the role is fillable. So a lot of recruitment owners in their transactional business are struggling with, we've got loads and loads of jobs on, but are we actually filling any more as a percentage than we were before? Let's focus on the quote quality business. Let's improve the quality that we've got. And I think that naturally in our world, in our lingua franca, would naturally lead us to, well, if you want to build trust with the customer, there's a deeper relationship that you can develop with them that will get them to where they need to be. But I've also experienced, I think we've both experienced, and this is another kind of quite unusual conversation to hear, is recruiters on the desks actually having to deal with buybacks on a regular basis, on salary inflation.
When you say buybacks, do you mean counter offers?
Counter offers,
right?
Salary inflation, having to have, sometimes for the first time in their career, talk to customers about the fact that their salaries are not where the market is at, because it's changing so quickly.
Yeah.
And that's that's not been seen for a long time, particularly in the our client base is specifically within professional services sectors, tech, digital engineering, infrastructure engineering. Those are the staffing businesses that we work with. Their specialisms tend to be in that area, and it's something that a cohort of recruiters has not seen in the way that it's happened in the last 12 months. So it's a function of huge amounts of demand out there, and I think that should prompt the recruiters and also end clients to try and take a step back and think about there needs to be a more strategic way in which you go about acquiring talent. There's more to this than just having to go out there and attract talent with 10, 15, 20% pay increases, which is not unusual at the moment, that people are being moved for that sort of money.
That's true with perm as it is with non-perm and off payroll workers as well, freelancers. One of the stats are there's sort of 60% have had to, the businesses surveyed have had to pay more than that. 3/4 of businesses surveyed, and I think a recent Brooks and legal survey, they've had to increase rates. I think if you sort of chuck that into the mix of, many organisations have now just embraced hybrid working. So where the talent pool sits is another conundrum. What type of team structure needs to be in place, because half the team won't ever necessarily meet themselves face to face. When you've also got to consider that then throws the capture of talent across a far broader spectrum. And, you know, increasingly, as I think we talked about last time, you know, people's work-life balance is now at the top of a lot of, you know, candidate pools lists of things that are critical to them taking the next job. So lots of different things that are impacting how recruitment organisations service customers and customer demand. But all of that talks, for me, says more control is needed, more order is needed, more structure is needed, rather than we need to go to a wider community of suppliers. We need to engage more people. It's sort of the less is more result, I think, is probably.
And you know, and I think we're gonna move on to this, but I think the COVID has just amplified some things that were already structurally in play. And coming down the line, and I think it's just accelerated and amplified some of these challenges. The causes that we're talking about, the result is that there's a huge labour shortage across almost every sector. You know, there's a huge labour shortage.
So when we're talking about this kind of the clear and present problem of, for a recruitment organisation, we've got all these jobs to fill. Same problem from an end organisation. We're under resourced. We've got skill shortages. It feels to me like you can get too focused on. I mean, it's clearly an opportunity for recruitment businesses, and it's clearly a problem for companies. Well, it's a problem for everybody, really. But I think you can see how people could get stuck kind of spinning their wheels on that, in the sense that, you know, retention's important. You know, if it's really difficult to hire people, make sure you're not losing good people. Make sure you're looking after people you got, paying the right amounts, looking after people, allowing people to work in a way that makes your company, this opportunity, the best thing for you. But there's also the wider view of talent, and effectively this wider view of resource capacity, which is where it starts to go into other models. You know, how could you resource this requirement? You know, are you effectively utilizing internal resource? Are you giving them opportunities to get involved on a project basis on exciting things? Are you effectively pushing out to contingent workforce, or are you effectively hiring, or are you effectively outsourcing where that's appropriate? So I think the ability to take that more holistic view, as you say, it's not just a question of more volume. It's a question of quality and strategic thinking that is ultimately going to lead companies to be very successful in the future, because this is one of the major challenges for organizations at the moment, and is likely to be, it always is, but it's very much at the fore at the moment.